All right, just getting everything set up, and I should be starting soon. All right, so today's going to be a pretty short stream. I got a lot of stuff to do today, so let's see if I can get rid of these wires. I got to do something. I had to find a better solution for the way I have this thing set up. Anyways, all right. I said I was going to start in like a few minutes, but I should probably just get started now. While we wait for people to join, let me open up the chat. I'm so bad about that. So I was trying to get an Android build working earlier this morning, and I was having some luck, but I need to do a few things. So we're gonna play around with some build script stuff and see what we can get going. I want to preferences. I haven't used this yet on yeah, let's restart Visual Studio. I haven't used Visual Studio yet on this build, so let's see how it goes. We'll open up this solution, and what I should do while I'm here is let's just make sure that well, it isn't popping up yet. I'm gonna make sure that the game doesn't do its sound. I don't know. I keep telling this thing not to open up. Android SDK of the project. Android requires the following SDK. Yeah, download and install dependencies automatically. Download and install. Perfect. All right, let's see if we can get this going. What I was trying to do was I was trying to use this zip target for pre-building, and I have to really look into how this stuff is oops, this like hangs for some reason. I don't know what's up with that. I have to look into how to run build game package ms build. Yeah, I gotta really better understand how to automate builds. One of the packages I installed was this Infinite Space Studio package, and this allows you to, it automatically packages up a Mac and Windows stuff. But what I need to figure out is, I don't know how it actually works. Post build event. Post build. So what I need to start getting into is, you know, let's test this out. Let's just see, while I'm waiting for other things to happen, let's go to desktop. And let's set this to release, and let's see if it'll run this ms build command. I don't really know anything about, whoops, 3 build errors, huh? What are the errors? Access to path at a desktop app mono C# sharp loop is denied. Oh yeah, hey, cool. I gotta figure out how to fix the permissions crap on here. So I'm trying to do this where I can get info. I thought I had done a command line tool thing to fix this, but let's just add studio. We'll do read and write, and we'll apply to all enclosed items. The problem, I'm trying to like do this on a shared drive, or the shared part of my Mac operating system, so I can have one user account for streaming and one user account for my personal stuff. And it doesn't seem to like this idea. One error. Last write, right, okay, it doesn't like this either. What I got to do is write a script for content, pixel vision, desktop, object, and bin. All right, move these guys to the trash, and then we rebuild this. All right. Let's see if it'll. Oh, 3 more build errors. Fascinating. Infinite space. Yeah. See, MonoGame, Visual Studio access to this path. The command msbuild is not found. All right, I have a feeling that this is not. I think Rider actually has the msbuild stuff in it somehow, but for some reason, oh my god, the music today is terrible. Next, let me try running this on Rider. We'll see what we get. If you're just tuning in, I'm trying to get, well, I'm just doing my warm-up, my code warm-up, which in this case is just trying to test things build. Let's see if we can get to a, why is everything broken? Default build error. Solution is loading. Please wait a few seconds. Okay, I could do that. MS build targets were not found. Make sure that all SDKs required for the project and solution specify a different thing. Use ReSharper build. Run build after solution is loaded. All right, so I guess ReSharper must have some sort of built-in stuff for running the MS build. All right, so the Android project isn't going to work, but what I wanted to see was if we did a release any CPU, and is this still loading? All right, it's trying to load the Android project. I believe that Rider should be able to configure all this stuff. I don't know much about. This is the one the one luxury I had with Unity was I didn't really have to think about any of this stuff and how like Visual Studio worked and all that other mess. Why are there 4,732 errors? All right, we'll get to that in a second. Let me run this. Eventually, I will get all the builds working. What I hope that I will eventually also get is I bought some like cheap Windows tablet because I wanted to test out a certain amount of current version. The command msbuild, exit with code 1. Access to the path is denied. Packages, infinite space. User shared project. Infinite space MonoGame target. Access to path /var folders dm. Access is denied. Let's see here. /var/folders/dm else whatever that is t ai. I don't know what any of this stuff is. Calendar lock address book. What? AI8 flub Pixel Vision desktop. Eh? Get info. How is that? How is that even like? Sure. Let me try running this again and see if it'll access it now. I'm just running into like a lot of issues between, you son of a. Contents, MS build. Var folders. Yeah, using file system. Yeah, like I'm just getting all kinds of stupid permission problems, which I thought I was going to get around by being in the shared folder. I think what I'm probably going to have to do is just have a separate. I'm probably just going to have a separate build of this where I just check it out on this project. Var folders. Var folders, private. What is it looking for? Let me just do the var folders. Fine. DM T AI. And it looks like I have permission for it. Read only, read only, read and write only. This is obnoxious. Alright, I don't know what's going on with this. Access to path, var. Is that a new path? DML, whatever that is, T NU NUY 2HAL. Alright, get info. Alright, that's another build. That was a desktop build of Mono. Alright, this must be the Linux build. I'm looking for DML TOOV. What's going on here? What's the name of this path? This is ILT 0. It's a 0. Get info. All right, I'm hoping that once I fix these permissions, this should run. And this is sort of a stupid way I have my computer set up. I should just use one account to stream from. Son of a bitch. Why is this such a pain? TGX GXBN. How many versions of this are there? I wonder if this is generating new versions every time and this is just temporary stuff. I'll give this a try for another minute or two, and then I'm going to move on with my life. So I wonder if I can just tell the script to execute it root level. That's probably bad. Yeah, this thing is just making up new stuff. Like, let me take a look here at dates modified. Yeah, every time I rerun it, it's building this, and it's building some sort of temporary. It's building some sort of temporary version of this. Get info, and it just doesn't have access to that. All right, I can't. I'm not going to sit here and fight this forever. Let me go back to just doing. Let's just make sure we can just do a regular debug of dev debug any CPU and run it. Oh wow, everything's broken today, huh? It's just going to be one of those days. Build failed. All right, good. So that loaded. All right, so what I basically got it doing yesterday was it's using the loader and it's going into this. And what I wanted to try to get is, this is so frustrating. I can't get the permission stuff working. Let me see one other thing real quick. Let's see if we can get Android to like figure out how the hell to build. MonoGame Android output library class debug. Chrome. Xamarin. It says it supports Xamarin. Xamarin Android application support. Writer now supports creating and working with Xamarin Android. The SDKs are installed. They are installed. So what we need to figure out is we can build our application writers using run and debug. So I wonder if it doesn't know where the SDKs are. Preferences. Wrong thing. Preferences. I was just looking at these Unity tests, iOS, Android. Here we go. Android SDK path. All right, let's open up Visual Studio for a second and just pull out those paths. Preferences. SDK locations, so that's .NET, Android. Oh, cool. I haven't. I wonder repositories, Microsoft, Google. I wonder how I get this to install the SDKs here. All right, let's start with that. SDK manager. I wonder, devices, none of this stuff's installed. Why? All right, let me see here. Mac Visual, or Visual Studio Mac, install Android SDK. I think there's a way where it's setting up the Android SDK for Xamarin. How many downloads? Setting up the Android SDK for Visual Studio Mac. Android SDK not found. Here we go. Try this link. Using the SDK manager. All right. Cool. I love how it's nothing for the Mac. Individual components. All right, the Xamarin SDK manager could be added Visual Studio at install time. No. Visual Studio extensions. Updates, Internet of Things. I don't need that. Mobile development, Android development. All right, so these are the plugins. Regular expression toolkit, devices, device monitor, SDK manager. Search. Preferences. Oh, here, maybe check for updates. Well, let's see. If you're just tuning in, I'm just trying to get this stupid thing to see Android. Version control, performance, NuGet, tools for Unity, other. I think I need to do. I wonder if I have to reinstall. I wonder if I have to rerun the SDK manager. Xamarin.Android SDK. Matt, where can I set my somebody's got to figure this out. This job includes Xamarin after Xamarin so when these settings to be found. Found these settings already. They were correct. I can see my SDK. Let me see if I just do the download for this again. And let's see if there's just an option to install. Yeah, I don't think you want me to do a survey right now. Pretty sure I'm not very happy. I also bought this like really cheap Windows tablet, and it's been saying getting Windows ready, don't turn off your computer for the past like 12 hours. So yeah, that's good. Let's see if there's just options here just to install the Android stuff, and then we'll yeah, open it. It's fine. Thank you for downloading Visual Studio. Continue. There we go. Download User Studio. Yeah, select that, install and update. All right, we'll install and update that. Let's quit out of this just in case it does anything. So my goal at least is, to have a single project that can build everything. I don't know if Rider actually does. I'm sure it must. Building UWP apps. Any plans? It should work fine. What are you getting? But what I would love to do is have like one IDE, one project that's configured, and then from there I can just automate all of my builds. Whatever. May was last updated. Yeah, all right. So let's see if this is done installing. Just should be done installing soon. It's like almost like watching paint dry. Oh my god, my music is, I don't know, like, I don't know what's happened lately to Spotify, but they're like, for the past week I've been listening to all like hip hop from the 90s, and you'd think that that would like go into my my list of stuff that I want to hear, and it just doesn't even know how to pull up music anymore. Nothing works for me. That's the long story short, is that nothing works. Come on, as case in point. Using Project Writer under Windows without Visual Studio. Let me see here. Writer. Support. Using Project Writer under Windows without Visual Studio. Using Project in a Mac. Prerequisites. Cannot load the project with the correct MS Build toolset. It's still installing, huh? Awesome, thank you so much. I fixed it. Sorry, it should be in. All right, so I guess we need to do. Well, that's on Linux. So compile MS Build and then select the writer settings, toolchain, use MS Build custom. Wow, what a slow day, and I don't have much time today. This like ate up almost most of my hour. I think what we'll do is after this is finished installing, what we'll do is I need to refactor some of the file system stuff. Yeah, oh shit, it's still going. I'm going to refactor some of the file system stuff, and then once I finish the file system stuff, I'll probably have to call it a day. I have some early meetings this morning that I got to take care of. Ugh, and I'm already tired. Hey, look at that. All right. It's funny, like some of the MS Build stuff, like when I'm doing it in the target in the project, it reminds me a lot of Ant because it's XML based. Come on. One thing I wanted to see was Universal Window Project access. Access documents folder, known folders class, file access permission. Here's the document. Here's thanks to suggestion. I'll have to change the capabilities. All right, so that's not bad. All right, start Visual Studio for the Mac. Cool. Let's see if this actually. The volume seems low. Is that better? Should I speak into the microphone? I think I was slouching in my seat because it's one of those I'm not very happy days. The volume for sound source should be good, and the volume should be up all the way. So if you're A lot better. Yeah. Okay. I'll speak into the mic. How does that sound? All right. Tools, Android, SDK Manager, locations. Perfect. So now what we need to do is open up Writer. Tools. I don't think I installed the NDK. Platforms. I think 24 works. I don't know what's going on. I don't know which version I need to use. I don't have I have my Fire tablet charging somewhere around here. I got like so many tablets now that I can't even like keep track of this crap. All right, let's open up this and let's see if we can get it would be really nice if I can just get like a basic if I can just get a basic build going of Android. So one of the big problems I have with Android, so with Pixel Vision 8, one of the things with Pixel Vision 8 is that it needs to access a lot of file system stuff in order to like load up a game and to manipulate sort of the game files. And what I was running into a problem with is on Android, it's the only system that doesn't give you access to the file system like a proper file system. So I've had to implement a virtual file system, and the virtual file system that basically, let's see here, Android SDK Manager. Let's see if we can get this stuff working. That that basic file system needs to, what we're gonna have to do for Android. Oh, look, it's loading. All the errors went away. Oh, can I do a build for Android? Doesn't look like it likes that idea yet. Android default. Let's see if we need to configure it. Deploy default. Open the target dialog. Let's run this and see what happens. Yeah, give you permission. I don't know why it's still saying desktop down here when it's building. Maybe I need to set this to, yeah, error running default. No, yeah, let's try running the Android debug ARM and then run this and see if that works. I don't know why I still keep saying pixelvision.desktop. All right, let's change the context. Android, run. Nope, still saying desktop. Maybe I screwed up the build. Android, open the target, build project solution before launch. Activate tool window. What does the build look like for this guy? Execution path .NET desktop. This is the Android project, default APK. I don't have any launch flags. And then open, select deployment target dialog. Apply, hit OK. So I'm in this. Windows, Tools, Android, AVD Manager. Will it open this? Oh, here we go. No, it just opened up this context. The Android command is deprecated. For manual SDK to management, please use the Android Studio. For command line tools, use what? All right. Cancel. Preferences. Let's just see what is set up here. User Studio, Xamarin, SDK, OSX. Man, like nothing ever works for me. Fine. Let's go to default and let's do debug any CPU, and let's just make sure this thing builds. And what we'll do is, I'll deal with this later. I'm just going to work on the file system stuff. So I was saying, like, the problem I was running with to Android is that the resources folder, right there, at least it's running. The resources folder requires you to, I wonder if we can just run it like this. Let me do this. I'm going to build clean solution. Let's clean the solution, and we'll give this a run one last time. I just think that Rider isn't connected to the correct SDK. Let me run Pixel Vision Android Studio. Error running, Pixel Vision Android. Xamarin Android can't be run. Report this to Rider developers. How do I report that to them? That failed. Android can't be run. Report this to the Rider developer. What am I reporting to them? I'm like, I just want to get this, I just want to get this working. Shouldn't be so hard, right? I was like, oh wow, why is it coming up to my SDK? Can't run iOS and Xamarin can't run empty Rider error, Android Xamarin can't be run. Can't run empty Android project on JetBrains Rider. Should be a comment, not an answer. Thank you for your response. My SDK is up to date. I have Visual Studio 2027. It works. All right. Can't run the Android app with single empty activity. All right. Also encountered the same issue. Still doesn't work for me in the emulator. I get the same blah, 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 blah. Verified. That means it hasn't been fixed yet. Okay. I want to do one quick sanity check. I'm just going to quit Rider for a second, and let me just open this up in Visual Studio on the Mac. And let's just see if it'll run. Eventually, I'll get this working in one IDE. I think. I don't know what my long-term goal is that once I get all this stuff actually working in a single project, I'm probably going to, well, I'm going to try to do a automated builds or continuous integration server. The challenge is going to be Android debug ARM. I just want to plain debug. All right, it sees the son of a zip task was not found. Yeah, I know, because in this project it doesn't understand the zip task thing that I wanted to do. So let me just comment out this, and this should be API level 22. Options, Android application level 22. All right, let me play this. This is going to take forever to boot up this stupid emulator. How does Rider compare to Visual Studio? I like Rider mostly because of the like having one IDE that's cross-platform Visual Object. Yeah, okay, sure. A lot of the problems I'm running into is just one, the way I have things set up, and two, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Where is Pixel Vision 8? I gotta just delete these two folders. Whoops, move to trash, and then rerun this. I like Rider. It's not bad. I think if I had couldn't boot snapshot, doesn't exist. Fine. All right. If I had my choice, I probably would just use Visual Studio on Windows, but then I can't build on Mac. And my hope with Rider is that I could have one IDE that works on Mac and PC the same way and just runs. I think there's some ways that I can configure the Windows Visual Studio to, in parallels, run the Mac stuff. I don't know. It's complicated. This is the hardest part right now of any project is before I get too deep into the Pixel Vision 8 stuff, what I want to do is make sure that, is this going to run? Or is it just going to show me this? Allowed you? Yeah, sure, whatever. It's going to, I just want to make sure that I can get a baseline running on every platform. So I was having some trouble with iOS earlier. We'll take a look at that in a minute, but detecting installed packages. Like Visual Studio on the Mac was giving me a bunch of problems too. So like there's no like easy solution for any of this, unfortunately. Oh, the other challenge was that I can't build UWP on Windows. I can't build it on the Mac, but then I can't build iOS on Windows, and so I'm stuck going between two different operating systems. Android emulator. All right, perfect. So this did load up. It's not going to play anything because the problem is that I can't load in any of the files that Pixel Vision 8 needs on Android because it needs to be a zip. So that's sort of where I stopped. Was trying to get a build target to run. All right, so this works on Visual Studio. Let me fix this. I don't think there's any difference between Visual Studio Community or not. Is there a way to log in? Preferences, sign in. Yeah, let's just sign in real quick. You can have my Outlook email address. I don't ever use the damn thing. I believe that's my password. So my plan is, I guess what we'll do for the rest of the morning, as much fun as it is to watch me muddle through trying to get Android to work in Rider. I think that stuff's like still really experimental. In fact, well, I don't have Rider open. Let me close this emulator. We'll shut that down. I think it'll boot up a lot faster. The emulator seems a little bit better than it used to be when I did like early Android development. I do have like regular tablets and stuff. It's just at least you guys can see what's going on here. Let's quit this guy down. Ugh, this authentication like this takes. Did I just lose my mic? What just happened there? Can you guys hear me? Oh, okay. So the audio was going through. What was that? Why did it just complain that it couldn't find my... Whoa, you guys don't want to hear my music. What was that? It's just one of those days today. All right, so my mic is going through, but Spotify should not be. Should only be going out to my microphone. Have you guys been able to hear my music the whole time? Nothing works today. Oh, hey, look, that sign did at least. Just now, huh? Let me quit the music and try that again. I have like the stupidest setup. All right, so what I should be doing is routing the Spotify microphone or Spotify over to my microphone so I can listen to it on the out. Nope. No music for you, Jesse. Alright, that's fine. I won't listen to any music. It's already been sort of a waste of a morning. Let me just re-hook up my headset to my mic. Wow. All right. I don't know why my music's going. Why isn't anything working today? This is so frustrating. The other thing is that it doesn't see my my iPad, but that's like a whole other thing. All right, forget it. Let's quit this and let's actually do some code. I only got like an hour and 20 minutes or so left anyways, so we might as well be productive. And who needs music, right? All right, writer, you're back up. All right, open up Pixel Vision 8. Oh my God, now listening to the output from my my mic is, it's like I hate listening to like my sound of my voice while I talk. But I don't know, one day I'll fix this entire setup. All right, let's just close all these windows. To the best of my knowledge, all this stuff should still work. All right. This is loading up. Let it just run through everything. There's two things that I would like to accomplish today. The first is I would like to generate out a zip. And then the second is I would like to generate out a zip of all the files that it needs so that I can make sure I can get that working for Android. And then the other is I wanted to change, like I got to refactor. I think this is all done now, right? Let's close this out and let's go into desktop. This one works, I believe. So what I did last night, I did some refactoring to get this to run better. And I basically copied all the custom stuff that was in this game stuff and moved it into runner game. Let me move this over to the right and close this out and close this out. All right, so what I need to figure out is I need to come up with a much better system for creating the virtual file system. And this part's like it's not that complicated, but it's definitely, it's not streamlined. What I want to do is I want to get this to where all of this stuff here is created in this. So let's do this. Let's delete this, and then we're going to override initialization. Actually, we're just going to do setup base file system. And then we'll copy all of this stuff out. Right up into scale up until here. And then what we should do also is where did I load the BIOS? File system, workspace service. Oh, I loaded it all here. Workspace service. Delete. And we'll put this here. And what I want to do is make sure that there's two things that I need to do. First, I just want to see where am I using the file system. So I got to make some notes because there's a few things that are just not, like, this is too much for me to keep track of. All right, so the first thing I need to do is, so the game1 class should manage, should set up the workspace service. The runner game should use workspace for VFS, not file system directly. Workspace service should hide from rest of game engine. All right, so these are the main tasks that we need to do. The reason I need to do these is that right now what I'm doing is I'm passing around some references to the file system, and I have a workspace which represents what you can load and some of the systems for like how to run a game and things like that. We want to hide that from the core of Pixel Vision 8 in case like so for Unity I don't think I can do a lot of this stuff, and we're going to expose that. What I want to do is probably do something like moving this like read disk and all that stuff in there. So before we even go further, what we'll do is let me uncomment out. Whoops. Let me uncomment out this file system thing. Yeah, give me permission to write the file that I was just writing to. And let's go to default build, any CPU, and let's rerun this. Oh, cool. So for some reason, my sound management tool isn't. Hold on a second. Something happened here. Something happened when I loaded the when I loaded up the Android output device studio aggregated device. Sound control writer should go to the Yeti microphone. Audio will be interrupted. All right. Testing. Okay, I still see mic levels. So now let me rerun this again and see if it plays the audio out. Yep. Cool. That's fascinating. Oh, well, I should have probably kept that running. All right, well, I think long story short, what we should just do is this. I could probably just, no, I can't do that either. Default output. Let me rerun this. We're going to listen to some music for a second. Sorry. I don't know why my audio stuff is all screwed up. Something happened when I loaded that Android VM, and it destroyed my audio routing. Huh. Let me try reloading. I'll be right back. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. All right, can you hear me? Testing. All right, let me try this again. Oh, wait, hey, look at that. Oh, it's a little quiet. But, all right, so that's working. I wonder if something got screwed up when I loaded up the Android emulator. Spotify. All right, cool. So you can't hear my music. That's good. And now, if I run this, let's make sure you won't hear that. I guess I just had to restart the audio stuff. Good to know next time I run the Android emulator. Yay, and you don't hear that. Perfect. All right, let me switch back over to my mic's output, and then we'll continue on. All right. my microphone has has like a headphone out jack, and I'm able to listen to. I'm routing. What I'm trying to do is route some sound out through that. And I got music again. I have like a really strange setup. What I'm doing is I'm running everything off of my laptop, but I output the HDMI signal into a capture card that runs on my PC, so that I don't use any resources on my laptop to do the capturing or the streaming. And this way I get like full speed out of my laptop, but the setup is incredibly convoluted. Oh, hey, my Windows tablet booted back up. I bought this $68 Windows 10 tablet because it had very similar specs to some other devices I was looking at, and what I want to do is build a it's still not updating, huh? I want to build a Pixel Vision 8 like actual physical console, but trying to get this Windows device to actually like boot up and like go through all of its updates and everything is taking me almost a day. All right, so I'm like just cursed where technology just doesn't really work for me at all. All right, so what I want to see is where are the places that file system is used, and if I can somehow modify. Let's do this. Let's go here to file system. I want to move file system into the workspace service so that when we start this up, what I want to do is give it a reference to a file system, and then nothing else will know about this workspace service, or it won't know about the inside. It won't know about the internal workings of the workspace, and then that'll just hide. So then the workspace will just get files and give them back. So initialize, update. There's like a lot of this code everywhere right now. Again, like what I was saying yesterday, like I'm keeping things a little bit sloppy right now, not on purpose, but because it's too much to manage until I get everything working the way that it should. All right. So what I want to do is run disk, process files. All right, so this, I want to do something, I want to move that save disk, compress folder, override on exiting. Where is read disk? So I complained about not hearing any hip hop, and now all of a sudden all I'm hearing is hip hop, but that's fine. Process files, run disk. Oh, here we go. All right, I got to. Whoops, that's full screen. I don't want that. I want to clean up this file and just get the formatting to be right. Oh, I was gonna say, like, did it just lock up on me? All right, so what I wanted to do is we're going to expose load as the way to load a game. And inside of this, I'm calling two methods right here. And what we should do is we're going to move all of this into the workspace. So let's open up the workspace service. And what we should do is, let's see if we can just make a new public void system path. Creates a new file system path for the path of the game. void. What we should do is read disk. Actually, we should do. We'll just say this. Trying to run game. And what we're going to do is string path. And we'll do this stuff right here. And let's do Boolean for if it fails. So we're going to move all of this logic now into the workspace service, and then I'll just copy over the stuff that we need. So workspace service dot run game, and we'll put in the path. And so now we should be able to copy read disk, run disk. Let's copy these things over. And then process files, we're going to have to do some stuff with too, but I'm not there yet. And let's move save disk and compress folder over as well. So now the next thing that we need to do is supply a runner. And when we read the disk, archive extensions, fine. When we run the disk, we need to supply the runner. Why is this having trouble now? The name is expected, but namespace was found. What? Import missing references. Sure, whatever. I don't know. Like, I've been getting some weird errors in Writer with shared projects, and I'm not 100% sure what's up with that. But now all I know is let's go back here, and when we run this, we're going to pass in the runner as the target. MonoGame runner is not assignable to type runner. I was trying to do some clever stuff yesterday, and I just wound up like making it worse. Runner equals, let's just do a runner. Pixel vision. Oh, I see what I'm doing. That's stupid. All right, I screwed it up. It should be a runner. This should be a pixel vision runner. Or is that a namespace? What the yeah, here, there's a base runner. Why is this so hard for it to understand? It's like it doesn't understand. Sometimes Writer loads up and it doesn't understand the difference between a type and a namespace. It's like really weird. Run disk. Change type parameter called method to runner. Like, I don't understand why it doesn't get this concept here. All right, fine. I created some class in the shared library, and then everything sort of went to hell after that. Let's go here and pull out the archive extensions and these file path extensions. And we're going to put that up here. And I'm going to make myself a note. These should be generated from the BIOS. I have this JSON file that when it loads up the BIOS, it's called BIOS, and it has all the settings for booting up and where things are and stuff like that. Import missing references. Unreal. That's not going to work. I don't know what's up with that, but let's do this. Runner process files. What's going on? Run disk. I think I also need a I engine. Import missing reference. So it needs this, and all right. So when we run a game, we need the I engine. So target engine. Pass that in the runner. And then the last thing should be a boolean to show preloader. The show preloader allows, either tells the engine if that's set to false, what winds up happening is that the engine automatically, it just skips preloading and it just runs until the preloader is done. I'm gonna have to. This is an absolute mess. I'm gonna have to clean this stuff up. I mean, I'm getting there, but let's see here. We have a temp engine and process files. Where? So the only other thing we need to do here is when we read. Let's pull this out and hide this. And now, when we read a disk, or actually before we run the disk, we're going to have all these files. We need to load additional files. So let's get rid of this. Basically, there's several libraries that, like, there are certain folders that you can have inside of the Pixel Vision 8 workspace, one of which is like an additional libraries folder that could be shared between projects, and it could be inside of the place where you work. And what that winds up doing is, I should actually make this a, let me make its own method real quick. So we don't have any collisions here. Public void load extra files. Dictionary string byte array files. So what I do is I take this list of files that I pull out from the system when I say, like, oh, hey, load this game, and I inject anything from the system libs folder and stuff. So you can have, like, this way you can have, like, common libraries. So, like, Pixel Vision 8 has a set of common libraries for doing, like, the UI and for doing components. And if you want to use those in your game, this is the only way for it to work. That's how all the tools basically work. Let's return files. So this should libs copies everything in the files, and it'll we can actually do this as a void. Add extra files. So I'll just concatenate these files. I just need to delete the workspace stuff because we're in the workspace now. Whew, okay, I think we're almost there. I mean, the odds of this actually working are slim to none, but you know what? We still got to try. I've not been having a very good day today. I'm looking at this like cheap Windows tablet, and it's now trying to download the next round of updates. So we'll see. Maybe by the end of the week I'll have a working test device. My long-term goal is I'm hoping that I could be able to just build. Let me close this out real quick. My long-term goal is I'm hoping to build an Android build, and I've been looking at these like Raspberry Pi alternative boards that run Android, and whoops, I should probably spell things correctly. Workspace service should hide this. Runner work should game one class should set up workspace service. All right, we're slowly getting there. We're working on this. Should use workspace. Working on these two things. All right, let's run this and see if it works. I'm not going to hold my breath, but maybe we'll get lucky. Oh, hey, look, it built, and you guys don't hear the audio. And that's where we die. I wonder why it died right there. Is there an output window somewhere? That's the build. Where's the event log? Build success. Where's the event? Where's the output window? I have a feeling it probably didn't get the. Let's do this real quick. Well, okay, it's still loading. What we should do is we should clean the solution and then run the debugger. And let's see if it throws an error somewhere along the way. So the goal, as I continue to pare down the way that the file system works under the hood, what the library I'm using will allow you to actually load up a file system either as a flat file system where it's just a bunch of folders in your application, or as a zip. So here we go, reading from disk, boot done, reading from disk. I don't know why that failed. Maybe it's not getting the next, maybe it's not getting the next thing. All right, we can look at that in a second. It is calling reading disk boot done. It is calling some of this stuff. Temp engine. So we do pass in the temp engine. We already get the files. We're passing in display progress. Wow, well, hold on, maybe let's have it return this, and let's actually, if it succeeds, let's have it do something. I don't know, I might have some logic around. Return true. Let me run this one more time. Maybe it wasn't, maybe it was looking to see if it successfully loaded before loading the next game. That would be too easy. Holy, that actually worked. Hey, look at that. Oh man, I love this game. One of the goals of why I've been trying to get this off of Unity, I just don't like the performance of how Pixel Vision 8's been running. So I can actually take this game. So what you're seeing right now is this is a core runner for Pixel Vision 8 running purely in MonoGame, and there's nothing else to it. It's super lightweight. It's a really thin client, and even without any of the other tools that make the Pixel Vision 8, like the game creator, work, I could just like publish this, and you know, assuming I got this working on all the platforms I'm testing on, like I already had this working on Xbox last night, it's so much lighter than the Unity build. And like the Unity build, I saw like all kinds of like awful like tearing in the screen and stuff on the Mac. I don't get any of that in MonoGame. Like, I don't know what Unity does under the hood for its 2D engine, but it's just not up to par for what I expect. So, all right, let's go, now that we got that working, let's double check that our, yeah, look, we can get rid of all this stuff now. Let's remove this, and let's make sure that I want to get rid of the file system here. I don't remember where oops, file system. Here we go. Let's pull this out. Yeah, see, perfect. Now I'm not getting any errors over here. And if I come into this guy, we should put this here. Yeah, see, now I couldn't find the file system before. And now what we're going to do is, well, wait, I'm a little bit lost here. What am I doing? Oh, here we go. This is, oh, jeez, that permission stuff is killing me. All right, we already had this. Perfect. All right, so now what's happening is that the core MonoGame runner doesn't know anything about the virtual file system. That's all now abstracted through the workspace service, and all we're doing in the initial game, like MonoGame creates this like game one thing. What we're doing here is we're building out the whole file system. Like we're getting the root domain. We get the application's root directory. We look for where our files are for Pixel Vision OS. We set the root for MonoGame, and then we basically create these things called mounts. And what a mount is just a file system. And it allows you to take a path on your actual file system. Like here I'm taking root, and I'm mounting the root to a path called system/, and then it'll go to like system/ Pixel Vision. It'll be inside of the Pixel Vision 8 folder. So I'm mapping this name here to this folder. And then what we're going to do is we're going to continue to do these different mappings. So for user, I want to get the documents folder, which I have. And I actually want to make that, I feel like I want to change this up a little bit, but one of the things I had to disable for Windows thing was I didn't load the workspace disk, and what I want to do is I want to rechange this a little bit. Let's get, I want to make this into a file system mount. File system mounter. And in game one, nothing should change here. There's also some other really cool stuff that you can do, like this temp directory. It used to be a file system that it used to be a directory that sat inside of my workspace. And now what I'm actually doing is creating I'm creating a file system in memory. So on the API surface, it'll look exactly the same as all the rest of the file system. So I'll be able to write to it and copy stuff and put stuff in there, but the user will never see it. So that's going to be pretty cool. I like that idea. What I wanted to do was I'm gonna remove this user mount for a second. well, yeah, we can do that. That's fine. User. What I actually wanted to do is when we build out the workspace, so here, load workspace disk. What I was doing was, I wonder how we can do this cleaner. I think I have something here that does the, where's this documents path? Oh, I see. It's defined here. All right, let's pull all this stuff out of here. I don't want any of this stuff. User BIOS path. All right, I'm pulling this stuff out, and I'm going to put this here. And on the initialization, validate folders. There was some stuff I was doing here that I want to move into the root. I want to try to get all the BIOS and everything on exiting. Yeah, let's do this. We're going to move. Well, save BIOS changes. All right, we're gonna have to hide a lot more of this stuff. So let's use this as an example. This workspace stuff. Load BIOS, validate folders. All right. Let's remove this. We're gonna put this in initialization after we create the workspace. We'll load the BIOS file. And then after we load the BIOS, let's come up here and let's remove any reference to the file system. So I want to make sure that we're not using, so the file system library I'm using is called Sharp File System. It's actually, it seems pretty interesting. It's there's not a lot of features to it, but it's serving its purpose well enough right now. And what I want to do in the this thing here is I'm going to remove this and return. Need to update this. I need to create a better way of when we exit a game. Each platform should do its own. Well, actually, I could do it here. It should just be shut down. What we'll do is in the workspace service, we'll simply create a shutdown method, and then that'll go through and handle all the stuff it needs to do. So public void shutdown, and now we do something like save BIOS changes here. Okay, so that's a lot cleaner now. I'm liking this. Let's run it and see if it still works. I should have run it as debug mode. Oh well. No, it booted. All right. Cool. All right. It's throwing a whole bunch of errors because I'm not shutting down the sound stuff correctly. So I don't even know how I would shut that down. I got to look into that. That's like there's so many so basically Sean has been helping me out with this project, and he's wrote like a very basic wrapper to get MonoGame working, and I told him, like, if you can just get me that far, I'll get everything else working. And so here I am trying to get everything else working. All right, so what I really want to do is I'm trying to think, like, should we feed these paths into, like, well, okay, these paths are workspace specific, so user BIOS path, system bio path. All right, pull that out. I'm going to move this into the workspace. All right, I'm moving this into here, and then what we're going to do is when we boot up the when we create a new workspace, we're just going to automatically load the BIOS and validate all the folders. So I had to disable this. Need to make sure we add user documents folder permission in UWP. So for Universal Windows Platform, I was running into an issue where I didn't give the project permissions to use the user's documents folder, so I just need to do that. Workspace path. Right, and then afterwards we create on the file system. And what we should do is, if this works, I should mount this so that we can just do slash. So file system dot mounts dot add a new key value pair called what is the key called? The key is going to be it needs to be the only thing I don't like about this file system path root. The only thing I don't like about this sharp file system is that you have to create a file system path instead of it being a string, and it becomes like a pain in the ass to concatenate all this stuff. Append directory, workspace, and then this will be a file system. I don't know if that's actually going to work. Create directory. No, it should actually be here. We should mount it here, and what we would do is we need to create a new file system. And we'll do file system, or actually we'll do new physical, or actually new sub file system, and we pass it in the file system, and the root is going to be the workspace path. And now we can just mount. This is so convoluted. It works. In essence, what we're doing is we're taking an existing file system and we're wrapping it around a new subfile system. And this allows me to do something where, like, I can mount the user's workspace folder, and if we mount the user's workspace folder, they wind up being able to they can only access that one area. So let's run this real quick and see if it works, and I'll sort of show you. It's still, the system is like still really rough compared to how, like the old one was like a lot more robust because I just had everything sort of working. But I had like 30 minutes anyways to finish this stuff. Hey, it threw an error. It didn't like this. An item with the same key already exists. Yeah, I must have added workspace somewhere. $5. I do this a lot when I'm programming. I'm like, hey, this would be a great idea to like add this thing, and then I realize that I've already done it somewhere else. What are my mounts? Mount. What I should probably do is am I doing this anywhere? Let me see. Huh, interesting. Why is it not load? I was doing it here. It's so funny. At least I'm consistent. I was doing it exactly where I figured it would work, is right before we load the workspace. So I have it here where now we don't need this cast anymore. What it's doing is here it goes through and it creates all the folders that we need. And then it goes and creates a subfolder and it validates that the workspace is valid. And then what it should do is after it validates it, it should mount it, and then it creates a new workspace. All right, cool. Let's try this one more time. So what I've done is I used to have it in in the computer's shared library, but I did a poll on Twitter, which is, oh, something got fucked. Sequence contains no matching elements. System mounter, validate workspace 119 if this path exists. All right. If it doesn't exist, what? No, I have to mount it before I validate it. All right, I see what I did wrong. I'm hungry. I should probably not be coding when I'm hungry. Usually I would take a break right around now and have a quick snack, but I gotta get off at around 11 to go start my meetings for the day. So what we'll do is we'll just get this loading. All right, cool. So what's happening now is if we look in the users, documents folder, studio. Here, look, it put it right here. At the root of the users folder, which in this case is a studio because that's the computer I'm logged into, it created a folder here called Pixel Vision 8. And let's just, let me delete this real quick and make sure. I was doing a bunch of stuff that sort of screwed things up. Let's restart and see if we can, see if it builds out the folders correctly. I can hear my stomach growling through the mic. That's not good. I get very hangry when I'm hungry. All right, so it's still creating some. It should do Pixel Vision 8. I don't know why it's creating this extra folder here. I'll look into that in a section. But then it goes workspaces, workspace, and then it gives us the games, the libs, our sandbox folder, and trash. And what's good about this is that it will now, it's now ready to sort of load stuff from here. I just don't have any of the tools and stuff working. It would be kind of cool to see if, well, all right, I wonder why it's creating that. I wonder why it's creating that other folder. So users, Pixel Vision 8. So if we got rid of load workspace disk, and I deleted all this, let's see what's creating the double Pixel Vision 8 thing. See, now that everything is in one class in this workspace service, I can now find and debug it a lot easier. That was the problem before. It's code was all over the place. All right, so it created a Pixel Vision 8. All right, so now I just got to find this guy here. This is right, so user BIOS. What I sort of want to do is before we even get here, I want to make sure that the user folder doesn't allow you to access anything outside of this. Oh, this ain't working. I'm like super stupid hungry. Physical system documents. Get folder path documents. See, I have a. Let me do this real quick. Let's get rid of user and look for where we. Oh, hungry stomach. Stop it. All right, I can't even focus anymore. I'm gonna. Well, I got like 20 minutes. All right, I'll be right back. I'm gonna take a quick break. I just want to go grab something to eat real quick. I'll take a quick 5-minute break, and then when I come back, what we'll do is we're just gonna fix this user stuff, and then I'll head out a little bit later than I thought I would. All right, I'll be back. I'm back. Let me get my headphones on. That would help. Okay, so bye from London. I think I lost everyone on that break. All right, I'm gonna do one last quick round, and then I gotta head out of here. All right, so what I want to do is get rid of. I wanted to clean up the way that this was actually building or referencing the startup stuff. I don't know why it's creating two Pixel Vision 8 folders. So let's get rid of. I wonder if we can. I wonder if I can just, once I get this up and running, remap user. Let me try that. So, user Pixel Vision 8 system BIOS. It's ironic. Like what I need to do is be able to. I need to be able to read the folder shared storage, append directory, find the shared path. Great. User. Base directory workspace. Here we go. There's two. I see what it's doing. Where's the BIOS file? I should have workspace directory. Append directory, base directory, Pixel Vision 8, append directory, workspace directory. And then it should create that as the workspace path. And then here, what we should do is pass in this path. And this should be a file system path. And all we should do to the workspace path is append the user's workspace folder, which would be inside of the workspaces folder. And then all right, let's try this one more time. We'll delete this. All right. Pixel Vision 8, workspaces, and it didn't give me the actual workspace. That sucks. That's not what I wanted. User workspace. So that should go to checking workspace path console. Checking workspace path / workspaces. Checking workspace path. Read BIOS. User workspace. Now why workspace path append directory string read BIOS? why is this ending? Oh, I see, workspaces. All right, let's try this one more time. If at first you fail, keep just doing the same thing over and over again. Well, my Windows tablet looks like it's updating something new, so let's see if that actually will work. It's taking its sweet time. Checking path, workspace. Let's see what we created here. Pixel Vision 8, workspaces. Nope, that should have created a workspace folder inside of there. Create directory, appendix, base directory, Pixel Vision 8, read, workspace, workspaces. All right. So try this one more time and then we'll just go into the debugger and see what's going on. I mean, it looks like everyone's sort of moved on from the stream, so I'll probably be ending very soon anyways and start doing my errands for the day and all my meetings and all my other awesome stuff that I need to do. All right, so Pixel Vision 8, workspaces. All right, we just need to create a workspace folder. Now, why is append path console checking workspace? So what did it output here, the workspace path? Pixel Vision 8 workspaces. All right, I just want to take a look at the debugger real quick and see at these two stages what happens to workspace path. And then that'll at least tell us if it's concatenating correctly. So coming in, it is user Pixel Vision 8 workspaces. And then next is it didn't concatenate at all. Append. I guess that returns. I guess I see what I need to do. I guess it's not really adding it to the string. I just need to do that. All right. That's loading up. And let me shut this down real quick and take a look. And we should now have Pixel Vision 8, workspaces, workspace. Perfect. Games, libs, sandbox, and trash. All right, so our workspace stuff is working again. We're reading our BIOS. The game runner has no knowledge of the file system. I think the next step of what I want to do is I want to create a new interface. So let me what I'm kind of thinking is that the workspace should feel like the workspace should create the file system. And what I do here is just go through and create the physical file system, documents, local storage. Yeah, I'm thinking that all this stuff should go into the workspace. And what we basically do is we give it the root, like it should have some basic stuff. Root, document, local storage. There's that hidden. Do I have time? I really shouldn't, but let me let's do this. We're gonna make a var directories, or actually let's do var paths equals new dictionary string. And what we should do is the system would equal root. In essence, what we're doing is I'm going to loop through and create all these mounts. I'm just going to do the code, like what I'm doing here by hand. I'm going to try to just get this all into here. So we would do user documents storage. Startup disks. Nice, MonoGame. Use MonoGame for 5 years. Yeah, MonoGame is not bad. I should have actually started with that instead of Unity. Startup disk, add, append, startup disk, physical file system, startup disk. Yeah, that's a whole other. All right, we'll do, whoops, that's my alarm. I gotta do, all right, I'll snooze that. See if we get this done in a few minutes. All right, so what we're gonna do is let's move. Well, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do for each path. Yeah, I won't make any money off Unity instead of them taking your money. Well, I mean, I was running into more problems where just nothing was like for what I need to do. I need the simplest solution possible, and it wasn't working the way that I wanted. All right, I'm going to hide all this stuff, and then what we'll do is well, we can do it like this. Paths, mounts, and so now what we need to do is for mounts, add, and we'll do file system root dot append directory path dot key, and then here we're going to create a new physical file system, and we're going to use path dot value, and that should create all the basic paths that we need. Let me just run this, and we'll run this real quick and see if this still works, and then we can, what we'll do is we'll just pass in this this dictionary into the workspace, and the workspace will create the file system. I'm trying to abstract out. I don't want the game to know anything about the file system. There we go. It looked like it still ran. So now now what we can do is pull. I'm going to pull all this code out, but we'll do paths, and here we're going to change this to a dictionary string, and we're going to call this paths. And this will go through, it'll create all these things, and then it'll make the file system here, and we'll comment this out, and now I can go back, and once these other things, startup disk, combine, if directory exists, if file exists. I don't know what the root was. Let me mount temp file. We want to add a temporary file, so this is something that I'm not going to pass in. And then the other is we should look for a startup disk here. Let's do this. I had this notion that I was building where the basic idea was path. Bear with me for a second. The basic idea was that if you had a project called Startup Disk, it would load that project up by default, and then it would just run that game. So if you wanted to just package this up and just boot directly into a game, that's how you would do it without the BIOS or any other stuff that's needed. So all we need here is, whoops, I deleted the wrong thing. All right, I'm gonna finish this one thing, make sure that it works, and then I'm going to, I gotta head out of here. All right, so it'll look for a folder in the root called startup disk or a startup disk.pv8, and it'll add that to the path, and the BIOS will go through and automatically try to find a startup disk for you. There's these mounts. We can get rid of this stuff. It'll create the file system load BIOS, load folders, and the only thing that we want to do is I just got to go back into the main runner, and there should be a default game or something, or maybe it's in game 1, initialize, load BIOS, load. So workspace service, read BIOS data. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to move this here. We're going to do workspace, service, load, default, game. And I'll just create this right now at the bottom of the class, and I'll move this around later. All right, it's getting a little bit better. If you're just tuning in, I'm about to actually get out of here. I got to go run an errand before I start a meeting. Public void load default game. So like right now, if I ran this, it won't do anything. And there's two ways I'm going to have it where where when this thing boots up, I'm trying to build Pixel Vision 8, which is my game engine. I moved it off of Unity. It's now a MonoGame. I'm trying to build it more like an operating system where like right now what's happening is that it loads up, it can't find any files, and it doesn't do anything. And if you give it a boot disk, so in this case, what we're going to do is tell it to, see, that's not going to work. Shoot. Well, this will work, actually. What it should do is, we should do one of two things. We could need to check if there is a startup disk or just load the booter. So what we're going to do is tell this to so run game, and we will pass in the default thing. Run game, but it needs a target engine and a runner and all that other crap, huh? Yeah, that ain't gonna work. Oh no, I can just pass all that stuff in. All right, here's how this is really gonna work. Default game path. What we're going to do is we're just going to get the path to the default game. So that'll be this guy. Let's cast it as a string. And let's get rid of this. All right, default. And then what we'll do here is need to see if there is a start up disk. So then here, we'll go back to this, and we're going to use the runner's load system. But instead, what we'll do is we're going to do the workspace dot default game path. Yep, I know I got to leave. Okay. Default game path, stop this, and then let's rerun this. So now, before it didn't load anything because we got rid of the path. Now it should read the BIOS and just get the default game. So actually all it's doing is it's just loading up the BIOS right now. And then once the BIOS, once the bootloader is done, it calls boot, and then it does that. So if I had a startup disk in here, it could just go straight into the startup disk, but I'm not going to. Do I have something here that I could use as startup disk? I don't know. I don't think I do. All right, I don't have time to do this, so I'll play around with this a little bit later tomorrow. But I think we're getting a little bit cleaner now. What I need to get working, and I didn't get to do it today. Maybe I'll try to have some time tonight. Is I got to get the whole Pixel Vision OS, like all these files zipped up during a build. And on Android, when I load it up as a zip file system, and then everything should sort of work the same too. And then that's why I split this out. So when it comes to Android, what I would probably do is I may have to change this around. I don't know. We're getting closer. I may make it where I don't know. We'll see. Android's going to have to be a little bit different. It's going to have to treat the file system like a zip drive. So I don't know, or a zip file. I don't know what I'm going to do with that. But anyways, that's my stream for the day. Yeah, exit this stuff. I'll be back tomorrow. Tomorrow I won't be as pressed for time. I think look at my calendar real quick. I think tomorrow I don't have any early meetings, which would be awesome. No, I have no early meetings. So tomorrow I will go and we'll probably spend like a big chunk of the day. My goal is by the end of the week, I want to have this running on Android. And I want to get these games basically where I can just wrap up the game. I don't care about all the tools and everything working. I just want to be able to take the 2 games that I built in Pixel Vision 8 and build them out with a mono runner so that I can start testing out building some new features to it. So anyways, that's my stream. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys tomorrow for a lot longer than the 2 hours I had this morning. Thanks. Bye.